Hey, good morning and happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of our Chamber Check-ins from your only five-star accredited chamber in the state of Idaho. Today, we get to hear about a civil engineering chamber member company with Regional Director Bill Russell. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Paul. Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to help share the story of you and your company that has just made an announcement over the last couple of months, and really excited for you to help share that with Ardurra, formerly TO Engineers. First off, let me introduce you to the listeners. So, Bill Russell is the regional director for the Northwest region for Ardurra, a national engineering company. Bill has more than 36 years of experience of hands-on project management, engineering and construction management experience in water and wastewater, roadway and airport transportation, and land development. And Bill also specializes in transportation engineering, street and highway engineering, construction administration, and project management. And also, Bill is a close friend of mine. Both of our kids played Little League baseball together. And there's nothing better than sitting in the bleachers with you, Bill, watching our kids play baseball.
Well, thank you. Back at you.
Absolutely. Hey, so Bill, these chamber check-ins have been great ways of helping share our members' stories. So let's start off with TO Engineering a little bit and kind of give us the background before we announce the Ardurra partnership. So give us the history of TO Engineering, when, where, and why.
All right. Thanks, Paul. We our history goes back to about 1980, and two gentlemen started it back then. The two gentlemen's names were Davis Toothman and Richard Orton. And Davis, he had a firm back in the 50s, and then he merged with a firm called Tudor Engineering out of San Francisco. And then he retired in 1981, but upon retirement, because that was kind of during the recession of the early 80s, he retired. Tudor was going to pull out of Boise, so him and Richard Orton took over that office basically for Tudor Engineering, and then they renamed it Toothman Orton Engineering Company. And then in 1983, Davis was towards the end of his career. He retired in 1983, and Rick Orton became the CEO of Toothman Orton Engineering Company. And so that was its beginnings. And then in 1988, they were mostly doing like municipal engineering, like wastewater, water for communities and so forth. And then in 1988, they bought a small firm called Hozak Engineering, and a couple gentlemen came over from Hozak. One of them got us into aviation, which that's one of our core groups. And then the other gentleman got us into land development, like high-end land development along the Boise River and the foothills and so forth. And then that's where they started kind of growing and so forth. And then in the early 1990s, Idaho started really investing in the roadways and through the Idaho Transportation Department. And we had a gentleman that kind of started working with Idaho Transportation Department and got us into that field. And then through the 90s, we grew to, in the 50s, like 50 people, 55 people. And then we opened up a McCall office in 1993 to help with the land development and so forth up there. And so we've done a lot of projects in McCall. We've worked on Tamarack and all kinds of stuff. So we kind of hit the early to late 1990s. Our transportation was growing, our aviation was growing, our land development was growing. We also do survey. And in the early 2000s, we had the big kind of boom, and through 2008. So we got really heavy into land development. So we through that process, and so probably 60% of our work was land development, high-end land development. We opened up an office in Caldwell. That I did that in 2005. And then in 2008, the recession hit, and it really, hit us hard because we were doing 60% land development. So at the time, we were about 80 people. We had grown about 80 people. And through the recession, if anybody's lived through that, um, you'll never forget it, but it really hit us hard, and we were about 80 people. And through 2009, 2010, we shrunk to 29 people.
That's
That's
right.
how hard it hit us. But our transportation and our aviation really kept us going, and in survival mode. But through that process, I took over as president. Our Rick Orton retired in 2008. I took over in 2008, and through that process, it gave us the opportunity to kind of take a step back, and we did a logo. We renamed it to TO Engineers. We redid our website and all those things to kind of just really make us stronger and take that opportunity to make us stronger. So we started coming out of it, out of the recession in, early part of 2011. And in 2012, we did a strategic plan really based on growth and how we're going to set up our company for the future. And we really looked at diversifying our portfolio of clients and markets and so forth. So then in 2012, we bought a firm in Napa. They were a land development firm. That's now currently our Napa office, and they've grown to 35 people just on their own. And we've diversified that office. And so we have an office in Napa. Then in 2017 or in 2015, we opened up an office in Spokane. That office is about 30 people now. We have an office in Coeur d'Alene. We've always had one there. And then in 2017, we wanted to get into water and wastewater, type of work. And so we bought a wastewater firm in Boise, and that's our Boise office. It's right off of Federal Way in Boise. And so we've diversified that office as well. And then in 2018, we acquired a firm in Wyoming, and they had an office in Cody, Wyoming, and in Heber City, Utah. And that really expanded our geographical region. And they were an aviation firm. So what we've tried to do is diversify with our markets plus our geographical region. And now we have 9 offices. Last year, we opened up an office in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And we also opened up an office in Wenatchee, Washington, because we do all the work at the Wenatchee airport. So, and through this and how we've done it, we focused on our people and on our clients and on growth. We grew to, up over 200 people since 2010. So our lowest level was 29 people in 2010. And then we grew to about 205 as of last year. So that's kind of how we did it. And that's been our kind of history. It's been fun. It's been a lot of work, but it's also been fun. It's provided an opportunity for our folks and our partners and so forth. So it's been quite the ride.
Wow, Bill, what an incredible story of the roller coaster through the years. What you told me about Orton and was it
David Toothman.
Toothman and Orton. I didn't realize that. Now that brings it back. T.O. Okay,
Yeah.
I got it.
Yep.
All right.
And we really changed our name because of, we wanted to develop a logo. We hired a local firm here in town when we went through that process to basically come up with a logo for us, rename our business, put our marketing, material together, and same with revamping our website as well. So, we kind of kept it in the community, you might say. So.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that origin story. I love that. Tell us a little bit about you, Bill. 36 years in the industry is incredible. Tell us why you chose engineering and help me share with the listeners kind of your history of work that led you into this career.
Well, I was a farm child. So my dad was a farmer up in the Yakima Valley in Southeast Washington. And so I kind of grew up on the farm of hauling hay and cutting asparagus and doing all that kind of stuff. So I really liked dirt, you might say. So when I got into college, I went to a local community college in the Tri-Cities, Washington. and I got into a two-year engineering program there. And I had a brother-in-law that kind of pushed me into that and just, exposed me to that. And I kind of liked it. And I liked construction because it was dirt and all that kind of stuff, kind of along those farming lines. So I went there, and then I could block transfer to a school down in Oregon. It was called Oregon Institute of Technology. So I block transferred down there, met some great guys when I went to school down in Oregon. I didn't know anybody when I went to Oregon Tech. And I'm still friends with them today. We get together every single year, maybe sometimes twice a year. And so developed some great relationships there. Then when I graduated college in 1988, I was 21 years old. And I went to work for a geotech firm in Pasco, Washington. So a geotechnical firm. I worked there about 2 years, just enough to know I didn't want to do geotechnical engineering. I liked more general civil. I liked construction, but I met a guy out on construction and for a general engineering firm in Kennewick, Washington. And he ended up hiring me. So I worked there for 8 years, got just a wealth of knowledge, worked on all kinds of projects, transportation, land development, aviation, did a lot of work at the Tri-Cities Airport and all that sort of thing. And then I got an opportunity to go to work for the city of Richland. And they're a city of about 40 or 50,000 people as part of the Tri-Cities as their transportation engineer. And so that kind of led me into that transportation path. So I worked there about 3 years, and then I had a best friend that lived in Boise. He's a financial guy here in Boise, and he said, you really should move to Boise and try it out. It's a great place to live. So I sold my house. I had remodeled a house in Richland, and I sold my house, and I got this opportunity at Toothman Orton to come to work because they were doing more and more transportation work. So their transportation lead at the time at Toothman Orton hired me, and I started doing a lot of projects for the Idaho Transportation Department and for cities and municipalities. And so I did that till 2005. And then I went out to Caldwell and opened up an office in Caldwell kind of during the land boom, and so
Yep.
forth. And then when our president or CEO retired, our partners elected me to be the president and CEO of the company in 2008. So I had to move, I started working out of our Boise office, and started just kind of leading the company. I became president in April of 2008. So what I like to say is what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So we had to end up closing our Caldwell office in 2010 just because of the recession. But we really liked being in Canyon County too. So that's when we did that acquisition in 2012 to establish an office in Nampa. And so that's kind of what got me to where I am. And then we've just built, I've worked on building the company along with others in our company. I didn't do it alone, that's for sure.
Right.
And I think it's about empowering good people, putting them in the right positions, and then letting them do their job. And that's what we've really focused on, is really putting people in those right positions, empowering them, training them, and then letting them do their thing. And so that's kind of my history.
Wow, Bill.
In engineering.
Thanks for bringing me back, because I remember when we first met talking about Wenatchee. I lived in Sunnyside. I was born in Sunnyside and did the same thing, as a dairy farm on one end of the road and a meat rendering on the other side. And in between was alfalfa, asparagus, and corn. And so yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and I'm from Grandview, which is 6 miles away. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's talk about Ardurra for a few minutes here. What is Ardurra and what just happened? Share the announcement.
Okay. Well, Ardurra they're based out of, our corporate office is out of Miami. They were about 1,000-person firm, 60% water and wastewater. They do a lot of transportation work and some civil work, and then they also do survey. And so how we got connected with Ardurra was our leadership was entering the years of, being in their 50s, late 40s. And so we were looking at like, how are we going to we always try and be proactive and like progressive and continual improvement. And we were getting to that phase where we really need to start thinking about a transition plan, and we've thought about this through the years, but it was getting to a point where we still had some life in us, or at least I hope I have some life in me, and our board of directors and partners. And so we thought, how do we transition this firm smoothly to the next step? And we've always been growth oriented. And so we started looking at things like ESOPs and internal transitions. And I was continually being approached by firms, to acquire us because our market's so hot. So we thought we really need to investigate this to provide how do we take the next step of growth, and how do we provide more opportunity for our employees, more resources and expertise for our clients. We're a very focused organization. And so we started exploring like opportunities to get bigger, and finding a good partner that we can invest capital to grow and geographically grow our resources, grow our technology and so forth. And we went into it really looking at, if we don't find a good fit, then we won't do this. But if we find a really good partner that we really click with, we enjoy working with, we can have fun while we do it, then we'll explore that possibility. And so we kind of went out on the market and saw what was out there, and went through interviews and initial, greet and meets with firms. And we ended up finding a firm. It was funny because when we first talked to Ardurra, their leadership, we were like, this is, we can click with these people. And so from that point on, we just really click, provides more expertise, resources to our clients. And it's been, we were acquired September 1st of 2022. And it's been a great ride so far. We've really enjoyed it.
Wow. Incredible story, Bill. Congratulations on the new brand and for continuing to lead the Northwest region for Ardurra. I'm sure they're as excited as y'all are for this partnership.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been great. And, it's all about just providing more opportunity. Just give you a little story, is we had 24 partners as part of TO, Paul. And we, as part of this acquisition and our firms coming together, we've been able to bring 15 more partners into the realm. So that's provided more opportunity for people to be part of the firm and have ownership in the firm. So that's been a good deal as well.
Awesome. Well, Bill, I want to thank you for your time, for your commitment to the community, the commitment to your team, and also your membership with the chamber. It's unparalleled, and always love having you.
It's been great, Paul, and thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. Hey, say hi to the team for me. Tell Ava thank you for connecting us together for this, and have a great weekend. I'll see you on the ball field.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Have a great weekend.